Hi, everyone. Hi.
Hello.
There we go. Hey, Georgie.
Hey, Erwin.
Okay, so Aaron should also join us. So just wait a second while I add him.
It's so good to see you.
Oh, likewise, especially since we haven't seen each other for quite a while.
I know it has been a very long. When was the last time we saw each other?
Ah, I can remember that was a few months ago. Hey, Aaron.
Hi,
Hello. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. It's very stormy in Ghent for the moment. I don't know where you are now.
I'm in Delft in the Netherlands and I can hear my house being
Yeah.
Yeah,
noisy.
same here in Antwerp. Right now it's a bit sunny, so I could still have the sun shining
Oh,
on my face, but the wind is just really strong. I could see lots of the flyers just moving around, some of the banners here on the streets. So good that we're all indoors and safe from the storm.
absolutely. So nice to have this
Yes.
live and hi to everyone that's joined.
Yes. Currently there are 20 people in the live, so that's nice.
Really nice.
Maybe some people would still join the live, but we could also already just start and basically let people know why we're actually doing this and why we're having this live.
Yeah.
So we have this Q&A live session for the prospective students who would want to apply for the SINReM program, or probably some of them are already preparing their application but looking for some more inspiration or motivations, or just have any other questions that they would like to ask in preparation for their applications. So that's why we have this live. And in this live Q&A session, we also just have not just the SINREM ambassadors, but we also have our SINREM coordinator with us, Aaron. So maybe, Aaron, if you would like to introduce yourself first.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Aaron. Plovy is my last name. I work at Ghent University in the International Training Center of the Faculty of Bioscience Engineering. And in this faculty, we organize a number of English taught master programs, and the SINREM master program, the International Master in sustainable and innovative natural resource management is one of the master programs we organize, and I am the administrative and technical coordinator of this master program. So I'm not a teacher, I'm not a professor, but I take care of all the administrative things, and also, of course, the application procedure. And at this time of the year, a few weeks before the deadline, actually almost a few days, because within 10 days, on the 28th of February, that's the deadline to submit your application file. So it's a very busy period, and I'm happy that I will be able to answer a lot of your questions today.
Yeah, that's great. And on that note as well, if you guys would have any other questions, just type in your questions on the questions box there. And yes, Georgie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, my name is Georgina, also go by Georgie. My close friends call me Georgie. I am Namibian, born and raised in Namibia, very proud of where I am from, and also a proud SINReM alumni. So Erin and I graduated from the SINReM Master's Program in 2020. So just when COVID was brewing. Oh, well, yeah, it was the end of 2020, so in September. And I'm currently based in the Netherlands in Delft. I work for a LIBS company here, Spectral Industries, as a scientific employee slash project manager. And my background is in geology. So I am a geologist who has transitioned into natural resource management and applying sustainable technology in Africa and the rest of the world. So yeah, that's me. And what about you, Erwin?
Oh, thanks, Georgie. So you have already mentioned and told everyone that we actually did the program in the same cohort. So we were part of the second cohort of SINREM, which is also the first cohort, which is sponsored by, which received the Erasmus scholarship. So we finished the master's in 2020, and currently I am based here in Antwerp, in Belgium, and I am working as a sustainability specialist for a chemical company. So my background is in chemical engineering, and in the past I worked as a process engineer. And with all the learnings that I had in SINReM, I am now working as a sustainability specialist. And I came from the Philippines, also very proud to be a Filipino, and life just led me here in Belgium.
Yes.
And not complaining at all. All right. So maybe we could already start, digging into some of the questions. All right. So maybe this is an interesting question. So Fanata7up asked, what is the ideal candidate and which has more weight from the requirements? So Aaron, do you have any opinions on what do you think is the perfect candidate?
Well, the thing about the SINReM program is that we have a very heterogeneous population of students. And so the ideal candidate, it doesn't exist. We have indeed, so you have a background in chemical engineering and Georgie has a background in geology. So that's a very different background, but actually you were two very good candidates for the SINReM program. So we have chemical engineers, we have geologists, we have environmental engineers or environmental scientists. We have students who just studied applied chemistry, for example. So your background can be very diverse, but still you can be a perfect candidate for the SINReM program. The things where the selection committee is looking at is mainly your study results, because this is one of the most important aspects, actually. But we also know that study results alone do not tell everything about your profile. So we also, of course, look at the type of background you have, your bachelor degree, maybe you already have a master degree. I just told that that can be very diverse. But for example, if you would have a bachelor degree in forestry or in agriculture, this is not really fitting for the SINReM program. Because SINReM is dealing, the name is saying sustainable management of natural resources, but it's natural. And if you check our website, you can see that it's the strict sense of natural resources, as in metal and mineral resources from mining, and also in a circular economy. So these resources that can be recycled and reused. So if you have a background in natural resources, forestry, wildlife management, this is not a good background for the SINReM program. So we look at your background, your academic background, we look at your study results, and then of course your motivation letter is very important, because there we really want to read that you understand the SINReM program, that you have checked the website, that you have checked the scope of the different majors in the master program, so that we know that you are not just looking for an Erasmus Mundus scholarship and you write a general motivation letter to 20 different Erasmus Mundus programs. So we really want to see that you understand what SINReM is about, and that you prove, of course, that you are a good candidate for the program, so that you expect from the program what we really offer, so that you don't have wrong expectations. So motivation letter, your study results, and your diploma background. And then, of course, we check the reference letters, and we check your CV if you maybe have extra educational or work experience that is relevant for the SINReM program. Of course, that also we take into consideration. And actually what we are doing is give you a score on these different aspects I just mentioned, and then we have a long list of all candidates. Last year we had more than 750 candidates, so the selection procedure is very competitive, because we have around 25 Erasmus Mundus scholarships to award, some AVSA scholarships, and of course some students want to enroll as a self-funding student, but we actually then we can probably give you also an AVSA scholarship. So it's very competitive. So a lot of applicants think I have the right profile, I have good study result, but still, so if you 750 candidates and 30 places, so you understand that unfortunately we cannot award scholarships to all candidates. So then, yeah, based on this ranking, the selection committee with representatives of Ghent University, Uppsala University, and TU Berg Academy Freiburg. So it's not one single person that makes the ranking. It's a committee, and that's really good that we have different inputs from the different universities also on what they are looking for in the candidates. And then we make a ranking, and then the top candidates with the top scores in all these different aspects are ranked in the top of the list, and then we award the 25 scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, and George, do you think? Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, well, I was wondering how did you? Maybe that's also relevant for our audience. How did you? How did you feel about this application? And I mean, a few years ago, you were in this stage, and
yeah.
I think for me, what's important is people always ask, "Am I the ideal candidate for?" We are always looking at whether I fit the role, but you could also look at it the other way around. Is SINReM the right program for me? Because it's so important to make sure that if you're joining SINReM, it's 2 years of your life. Some people are walking away from stable jobs. Some people are walking away from a lot of things, right? And the last thing you want is to join a program and realize that your expectations are not being met, or realize that I should have applied for another program. So I always advise everyone, really go through, I know it's a lot of reading, but go through the material, understand when they say this is the course curriculum, these are the courses on offer. See if that is actually, does that interest you? Does the course curriculum coincide with the goals that you have for the future? Otherwise, you will be disgruntled. You will be disgruntled with the courses on offer. It's not like you can come here and just make it work. It's a lot of work. Those exams, it's a lot of studying, and you really want to make sure that, yes, the challenge is there, but at least make sure that you enjoy the challenge that's ahead of you. I don't know. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And we have mentioned that one of the most important criteria are your study results and also your motivation letter, and that's really important because there are lots of brilliant graduates from across the globe. So all of you would have stellar grades. So it could also just boil down to who really wants this and how SINReM would help you and how would you also contribute to SINReM, and just promoting the idea of what SINReM is about. And at the same time, do you have what it takes to finish a rigorous coursework in an international setting? And probably some people are not really used to being around very diverse cultures. So you also need to show that you have what it takes to finish the program, because it's not just about who is smart. So it takes a lot of effort as well to finish those rigorous exams. And yeah, but at the same time, you just really need to enjoy as well the process. So if ever in the future, you will not get it, or probably you will be admitted, but you won't have the scholarship itself, you just need to keep trying as well, because remember, there are around 700 applicants and only, let's say, 25 positions for the Erasmus Mundus scholarship itself. So probably it's just sometimes also timing, that it's just lots of people, lots of brilliant minds are applying at the same time. It doesn't mean that you're not fit for the program itself. All right.
Checking the questions, and I saw one question on the reference letters. This person was asking if a reference letter from your professor and also from an employer was necessary. Well, some students don't have any work experience, so then of course it is not possible to have a reference letter from your previous or current employer. So it doesn't really matter. We need two reference letters. So if this is, for example, one professor that has taught to you and the supervisor of your bachelor thesis, for example, that's fine. If there are two reference letters from two previous employers, that is also fine. But we need two, so one reference letter is not sufficient.
And on the reference letters, is there a specific format that you're actually looking for?
No, I receive this question quite often, so we don't have a format. We also don't have like an online web page where referees can input their reference for you, so that we don't have. It is a letter of maximum 1 A4 page, and the referee should have known you personally. So not just a teacher from high school that, or yeah, a teacher that does not know you, or university staff that just checks your mark and say this is a perfect candidate because I have checked. So he or she should have known you personally, for example, your thesis supervisor, for example, an employer. And in one page, he or she should write down why you are the perfect candidate for the SINReM program, why this person would recommend you, what your skills are. Oh, I heard something. It's blowing through the food.
Everything okay?
I hope so. It was, yeah. We will see.
I think on the reference letter point, play to your strengths. Really, like, don't get two people that can speak about the exact same thing about you, right? Play to your strengths. So, for instance, say now you have this professor, your supervisor, and then perhaps you were involved in some activities at the university, right? Try to find someone who can show that, yes, you're academic, but you're also able to be diverse. You want to play to your strengths so that the people in the selection committee, they can see that, okay, this person has really great academics, right? But in addition to that, they are also involved in other activities. Play to your strengths so that your application is strong. And also that speaks about your motivational letter and your CV as well. Don't try to repeat things. You really want to show them who you are in this application process. So be strategic about it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also see some questions about GPA, and that is actually my job. And I must admit that it is sometimes difficult because we have we receive applications from students from all over the world. Every country, and even within countries, there can be differences between the educational system and the grading system. In Europe, we have this ECTS grading system with ECTS credits. In every country in the world, this is different. So I cannot say a GPA of 8 is the limit, or 8.5 or 3 on a scale of 5, on a scale of 4 or 3.6. I check the transcript of records. I check also in most transcript of records, there is an explanation on which is the maximum score, which is the minimum score. Also, I have quite some years of experience checking these transcript of records. I also know most of the common grading systems of in most African countries and in Asian countries and in Latin America and so on. So I cannot tell you this is the limit, or below this GPA you cannot apply, or above this GPA. Also, as I already said, your GPA or your study results are not the only criterion based on which we score. So I would say just submit all your documents and then we will check. Also important is that if you submit your application for the SINReM program and within a few weeks you will receive the outcome of the scholarship selection, you can ask for feedback. So you can send an email and ask, okay, I did not get the scholarship. Why is that? I have very good study results. I thought I had the perfect background. What is the reason I did not get the scholarship? And then I will check your file again, and then I will formulate why the scholarship selection committee has not ranked you among the scholarship, or among the students who received the scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of questions coming in.
Yeah, lots of questions coming in. I also see some former SINReM students or SINReM graduates also joining us.
In class,
So
excellent.
that's really fun. Hi, Diego. Just giving him a shout out. Okay. So there's also a question about the difference between the AVSA scholarship and the Erasmus Mundus scholarship. Yes.
Yeah. So I would firstly advise you to check the website sinrem.eu, and there you find a lot of information on the scholarship and on the academic and language requirements and on the procedure, how to apply. So indeed, we offer, the SINREM program offers two types of scholarship. There is the Erasmus Mundus scholarship that is quite well known, I think. So this is a scholarship paid by the European Commission. And we call it a full scholarship because your tuition fee is fully paid from the scholarship, so you don't have to pay the tuition fee yourself. And then in the beginning of every academic year, you receive a budget for travel. So for non-European students, this is up to 3,000 euro. For European students, this is 1,000 euro per year you get to cover your travel costs, because you have to travel, of course, to the different universities throughout the two-year SINREM program. And then you receive a subsistence allowance of 1,000 euro per month to cover the rent of your student room, to buy food, to survive, actually, during the 2 years. So the Erasmus Mundus scholarship in total is for non-European students 49,000 euro and around 36,000 euro for European students in total. So your tuition fee, the monthly allowance, and the travel and installation fee you receive. And then we have the AVSA scholarship. The AVSA scholarship is funded or paid by EIT. EIT RawMaterials, and we have a few AVSA scholarships to offer every year. This is what we call a partial scholarship because the amount you get is not as high as the Erasmus Mundus scholarship. So that means that you will have to pay the tuition fee that you can, the amounts you can find also on our website. You have to pay the tuition fee, and then during your first academic year, you will receive in total 13,500, so 13,500 euro in monthly allowances. So first you have to pay your tuition fee, then you get 13,500 euro. So it's less than the Erasmus Mundus scholarship. So you need to have some savings of your own or support from your family, or still a current employer that keeps paying your salary throughout the 2 years. That is also possible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, we have lots of questions coming in. I got this question. So this is from my friend, from Christian. Hi, Christian. So he was asking, what do you feel is the most unique aspect of the program? Georgie, you want to talk about this one?
The most unique part about SINReM is that the world comes to you. What I mean by that is that you get to meet people from all walks of life. During my time, I met people from the Philippines, I met people from Mexico, I met people from literally every single continent of the world, including Australia. And what it does is that it opens up your worldview so much. It opens up your worldview, and that can influence your career. Because you may have come from your country where you just saw things, problems or issues that you wanted to solve, and it was very localized. And what SINReM does is once you start this program, it opens up your worldview where you can understand that actually we are all fighting the same struggles, whether it's from an environmental perspective, whether it's from a mining perspective. And you realize that your dreams can be bigger. SINReM allows you to dream and allows you to understand that when we say the world is your oyster, it's really your oyster, you know, in being able to achieve certain things. But I think it's just the opportunity to come to Europe and be in a, or at least if you get the scholarship, be in a fully funded scholarship, right? Where for the next 2 years, all you have to do is worry about your career, worry about getting good marks, worry about making connections with people, worry about chasing your dreams. And also the lifelong friendships that you get to have with people. Owen and I are good friends. Really the lifelong friendships that you make with people. I think that's the most beautiful part about SINReM. And let's not forget the traveling. But I'm biased about that. But really for me, it's the worldview that it opens up so many opportunities that I could have never even have have dreamt about. I don't know. What do you think, Owen?
No, you actually basically summed up everything. But
Yeah.
on a more technical aspect, I would also say that since we came from different backgrounds as well, so I have learned how to interact with geologists, how to interact with environmental engineers, because we were exposed to the whole cycle
Mm,
in the raw materials supply chain itself. So it's not just me focusing on process engineering or focusing on chemical engineering, but after SINReM, if you just go into the real world already, you'll be able to uh, collaborate
mm,
perfectly with people from these backgrounds. And that's something that's very unique within SINReM as well.
definitely.
Mhm. Well, what do you know? Time is flying by. Maybe we could still answer some more questions.
I think somebody asks if it's possible to be selected for a scholarship if you already have a master degree.
Definitely.
And this is possible. So it can be in your advantage or disadvantage if you already have obtained a master degree. If you have obtained a master degree in a similar field as SINReM, it would be a bit weird to give you funding for a second master degree in a similar area. So then the selection committee will say, no, this student already has a master degree in this area, so we will not fund the second one. But if you have already a master degree, for example, as a chemical engineer, and you really want to obtain a second master in the raw material sector, then of course the selection committee will say, okay, that's fine. He or she wants to specialize in the SINReM area. So it can be both, but you are not disqualified to be selected for a scholarship if you already have obtained a master's degree.
Someone asked about a language course, whether it's
Yeah.
possible. Yeah. Erwin, go for it.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And the answer is indeed yes. In Ghent, there is actually language courses offered by the government itself. So you could learn Dutch, and it's going to be free up till I think half of level B1, because it has the different levels here in Ghent. Um, and then also in Sweden, they're also offering language courses, and it's also free. Georgie and I took basic Swedish courses as well. And in Germany, in Freiburg, I think they're also offering it, but I wasn't actually able to get that one. Do you have any idea about that one, Georgie?
Yes, I do know that they do offer language courses in Germany as well. It's easier to do a language course if you choose TU Freiberg as your, or to do your major in TU Freiberg, then it's easier to do that. In the first year, not so much, because we only have short summer and winter courses, so it's difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also something to keep in mind is that these language courses are not embedded within the SINReM program itself. So this is something that you take outside of your schedules. So you just keep in mind that SINReM itself is already very, very busy. So yeah, taking language courses could prove to be difficult for some students.
More questions? We should
Yes.
so that we can get through as many for them.
Someone is asking on the CV, should I highlight more academic experience or work experience if he has both?
Both. Because your CV is your career, it basically shows your experience, right? What you have done. So it is, I think, advisable to put both. And then in your motivational letter, you can highlight from both what you've learned in the academic space and what you have learned in the working industry as well. Remember, you want to play to your strengths. So definitely put both in. And try to keep your CV to 2 pages. Yeah, look for good online sources where you can see how you can consolidate all of your experience. But I think both.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And at the same time, prepare a CV that is tailored for the SINReM program, because I know some people tend to just prepare this generic CV and send it to multiple master's program as well. So as Georgie said, play to your strengths. So if you have a particular course or project that you have worked on, make sure to highlight it on your CV if you believe that this is something that is could be related as well, or would help you finish SINReM successfully?
Mm.
I also saw a question on statistics of employability, of employment of the graduates after being graduated. So Erwin and Georgie just explained where they are working now. So the thing is, SINReM exists since 2017. So in 2017, we had the first cohort, but this was a very limited cohort of only 5 students. Then the first real cohort, when the cohort started in 2018 and graduated in 2020. But due to the COVID crisis in 2020, some of the students of the 2018 cohort had a delay in graduation. So actually the first full cohort has graduated only in 2021. And now we are actually collecting all the data to have these statistics. So a few months ago, I let one of my colleagues check all the LinkedIn profiles of all the graduated SINReM students to check where they are currently working, also to see if we can approach the companies or organizations where they currently work to offer internships or thesis positions to the current SINReM students. So to answer to that question, no, we don't have statistics yet, but I know from the SINReM graduates I hear that they find easily a job, also that some stay in Europe, and we have 2 examples here today of students from Asia and Africa studying in Europe and staying in Europe to work. Also, quite a lot of SINReM students start a PhD after they graduate. So there is a possibility to proceed with the PhD either in Ghent or in Uppsala or in Freiburg or at any other university where you want to do, of course, a PhD that are not partner in the SINReM program. Yeah, so that's basically it.
Mm-hmm. We also have a question regarding internships. Someone was asking about your experiences during your internship. So Georgie, could you share us about your internship experience?
Oh, my internship experience was so amazing because I really, I got the company that I thought I could learn the most, and I did. During that time, it was in Brussels. I don't know, do we mention the company's names, Erin?
Yes, you can.
I did my internship at Euromines in Brussels, which is the European representative for all of the mining companies in Europe. And for me, that was really a beautiful opportunity because I have experience working in a Namibian mine. So my mining knowledge is very Namibian/African based. So it gave me a good insight on how do mines in Europe actually operate. I was always under the impression that, well, Europe doesn't really have mines, so like, you know, why do we need Euromines? And it broadened my knowledge, or my mining knowledge in Europe. So I'm very grateful for that opportunity. And I think my internship experience also helped me really narrow down like what I wanted. Is that really what I wanted? The goal that I had starting SINReM, is it still the same? Or having learned what I have learned through my internship, maybe I can diversify my skill set a bit more. So yeah, I'm very grateful for that opportunity. Yeah, what about you, Erin?
Well, I just have a question regarding that. Was it difficult for you to look for an internship position?
For me, it was okay. I've always been very proactive. I'm a proactive person, so
yeah.
I went to a RawMaterials Summit, and that's where I started networking with the companies that I was interested in. So I really put myself out there to say, like, I want to intern in a company that focuses on this particular area. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it was difficult, but I think it was a challenge finally getting the company that I wanted to. So this is the advice that I also give to future applicants of SINReM, is that really put yourself out there and be proactive. Sometimes don't always sit and wait for things to fall on your lap. if there's something that you want, or if there's a goal that you want to attain, or there's a company that you want to network with, you have nothing to lose by doing so. You have 2 years to make it count. So that's what I always say. And what about you, Erwin?
No, I would also say the same because when we were looking for internship positions, SINReM actually gave us a list of companies offering us positions, and it just goes to show how much connected as well SINReM is in the industry. So we have options for in mining, also for consultancies as well. So the options are definitely there. But similar to what you did, I also look for a company where I think I would like to work more on, because I was looking for a particular aspect for a particular topic, and found that this particular company. So I did my internship in Dow Chemicals in the Netherlands. So I worked on the design of water treatment system for the removal of heavy metals. And yeah, similar to what you did, you just really need to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to send emails to contact other people, and who knows, you could actually be the link towards increasing the connections of SINReM as well. So yeah, it was definitely a good experience. That internship was very memorable for me, even though it was only for 5 weeks. Definitely, it's not too short.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Final questions to the people that just joined. I see quite a few people just joined.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Maybe we still could answer 1 or 2 more questions. I still see some questions regarding CVs. Regarding the CVs, is there a particular format, Aaron?
No. So there is this Europass format. That's the right name, right?
Yeah, yes.
Europass. So you can Google it, and it's it's a European format for CVs, and then you can complete it. But you can also use your own format. I think it's everybody knows what a decent CV should contain. And then so we let all the candidates free in choosing how they complete and which data. And indeed, as Georgia and Erwin already said, have a look at your CV and have a look at the scope of the SINReM program and highlight the relevant things you can offer in your CV that you think are relevant for the SINReM program.
Aaron, just to add on to that, or rather to ask you a question, because someone asked it, for work certificates that they have, can they attach it somewhere, or should they just mention it in their CV?
Well, you can mention it in your CV among your working experience. If you have additional documents, you can add it to your CV. So you can add it as one PDF document, your CV, and then some other certificates attached in one document. So that's also fine.
Yes, and there's also a question, what is the maximum number of pages for a CV? So as Aaron already mentioned, there's no specific format, but just know what to highlight. So a long CV could also work against your favor if you put lots of information and the important ones just get lost in a very long CV. So you just need to keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, that's true. So for the motivation letter, there is a limit of 1 page, because in the past we have received motivation letters of 12 pages. And of course, if the members of the selection committee have to read 300 motivation letters and they all have 12 pages, of course, that's not feasible.
Yeah.
So we try. We ask to limit the motivation letter to 1 page. We are sure that you can present yourself and you can motivate why you are a good candidate for the SINReM program in 1 page. That's also important to write and to describe that in a concise way. But for the CV, there is indeed no limit. But of course, you have to know, if you submit a CV of 15 pages, that also the committee members will not see the relevant or the things that are important for SINReM, because they will not have the time to check a document of 15 pages. So also try to limit your CV to 2 or 3 pages, I would say.
Mm-hmm. All right. Maybe just one last question. Okay, I see someone sent in a question regarding if there were cohort members or students or probably alumni who were or are involved in a startup. I think that's a rather interesting question because this is also one of the core topics within SINReM, entrepreneurship. Um, as applicants, I actually am not very familiar if there has been anyone who already did or who was involved in a startup before SINReM. Or Aaron, maybe you would have more insights about this one.
As a coincidence, yesterday we had to submit the reporting about the SINReM program and the progress we make to EIT RawMaterials, because this organization is one of the funders of the SINReM program. And then we had to describe that two former SINReM students were involved in startups, so in two different startups. But that also you can read actually on this Instagram page and also on the website of EIT RawMaterials Academy. EIT RawMaterials Academy are organizing or overarching six, I believe, or seven now. It's called EIT Label programs. So program is one master program that is overarched by EIT RawMaterials Academy. Next to that, there are a number of other master programs. And EIT RawMaterials Academy organizes certain events during the 2 years of your study where students from those 6 or 7 EIT Label, EIT RawMaterials Label programs come together, and one of the outputs of these events is also being involved in startups and developing your own business and business plan and so on.
Aaron, I actually took part in one of these, and we
No, two of them. So we participated in the EIT race and in the label startup. Is that the title of the event?
Yeah. So we were the winning team. So congrats to us.
Yes, we're very proud of both of us are part of the winning teams for both events. So yeah, SINReM is doing really well and just putting forward innovative ideas to some of the challenges in the raw material supply chain. All right, I think we have already answered a lot of questions, and it has been already more than half an hour of Q&A live session. So I think that's already enough for now. But if our audience would still have any other questions, you could always send them in to EIT RawMaterials Academy, or you could also send questions to our coordinator, to Aaron. And also feel free to send a message to Georgie and I in the Unibuddy platform, where you could just put in any of your questions regarding SINReM, regarding student life or life here in Europe, and we'll be very glad to answer the best that we can.
Concluding remarks from Erwin, Georgie, and Aaron before we go about
maybe Aaron, maybe you could start.
Yeah, well, and I also wanted to say, but you just said it actually, Aaron, if you have questions, so please send an email to sinrem@ugent.be, because if it's a specific question on SINReM, if you contact EIT RawMaterials Academy about questions on the EIT RawMaterials Academy, you can do that, but for specific questions on SINReM, just send an email to sinrem@ugent.be. I am answering all those emails. And also, of course, on our website, SINReM.eu, you can already find a lot of information and instructions on the application, the procedure, the deadlines, the academic requirements, language requirements, and so on. So yeah, I hope to see your application, or maybe I already received it, or maybe I will receive it during the coming 10 days.
Georgie?
Concluding remarks, I think definitely apply for SINReM. The program is quite young, but the beautiful part about it is that even the professors or the student board, which I was part of for my year, I was representative for the students. You really see that the professors want to hear how can we improve the program, how can we make it better. And you will see that if you decide to be part of SINReM and you actually realize maybe this course doesn't necessarily fit with the whole scheme or with the whole goal of the program, your voice counts, your voice matters. And that's, I think, one of the unique points of SINReM specifically that I have seen just speaking to other students from the different programs, where that's the advantage, because we're so young, where they want to make sure that the program really stands for what it says to be on the website. So apply, guys, apply. And what about you, Erwin?
No, that's also what I want to say. Just if you have any doubts or still concerns, then you could just send Georgie and I messages on Unibuddy. You still have 10 days if you guys are still finishing up some of your applications. So if you need some more tips or some more inspirations, if you would want to just know more about our experiences, just feel free to drop us a message. And looking forward to welcoming probably some of you here in Belgium in person.
They're asking for an email address. Maybe we could just quickly write it there for those. And I don't know, Aaron, the contact email address. I don't know. Do we have something like that?
I know the email address of SINReM. SINReM, let me just type it out at ughent.be.
So take a screenshot, guys, or come back to the live. I don't know.
Yeah, I just type it there. Yes. And you could always just go as well to our webpage, sinrem.eu. You will find lots of information about the program there, about the requirements, and to the EIT RawMaterials Academy webpage as well, where you could also find the access or the link for the Unibuddy platform. All right. Well, once again, thank you to everyone who joined us for the live sessions. And yeah, see you guys soon, hopefully. Bye.
Yeah. Seeing you guys too, Erwin. This was really nice. And thanks all for joining.
Thank you, Georgie and Erwin, to still after being graduated, still the ambassador of the SINReM program and being enthusiastic about it. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes. Erwin, do you save this so that people can watch it?
Yes. So this video will be saved and posted for your reference if you would just want to rewatch again the live sessions.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Fijne avond.